Welcome to this episode of Compound Action: How Small Steps Can Create Massive Change in Your Health, Finances, Relationships, and Happiness. And I'm figuring some stuff out today. Being new to podcasting, maybe this is some of the trials and tribulations to go through. But a couple things I'm testing out, the green screen behind me. That way I can get this little nice little graphic next to me. If you're watching me on YouTube, you can see it. Obviously, if you're just listening, you can't. But when I turn that feature on, you can't see the microphone. So it was like, covering across my body, you couldn't see part of it. So I actually just moved it out of the way. It's up here. It seems invisible anyway, but that was just a different position for me. Also, I learned that, normally you have the video mirrored. I had to unmirror it to get the compound action graphic that I want read the right way. So hopefully this comes through good. And I'm actually really excited about today's episode. I'm talking about something that is so fascinating to me. I've spent just dozens of hours researching this topic, and I still feel like I'm just barely scratching the surface. Did you know that your gut is home to trillions of tiny little superheroes working around the clock to keep you healthy? Yep, we're talking about your gut microbiome. So stick around to find out why these little guys are the unsung heroes of your health. But first, what is the microbiome? You can imagine your digestive system is like a big city. And just like a city has lots of different people living and working in it, your body has lots of tiny living things called microorganisms. They include bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Now, these microorganisms, they're all working a job. Some of them are working to help you. Some of them are working to harm you. More on that later. But together, they make up what we call our microbiome. Fun fact, there are more foreign cells, bacteria, virus, and fungi, in your digestive tract than human cells. Sounds like they might be pretty important, right? These helpers, they're going to do important things like digest your food, fight off bad germs, and keep you healthy. People often just reference the good bacteria of the gut, but there's also good viruses called bacteriophages that kill off bad bacteria and help to maintain this balance of bacteria in the gut. And there's also helpful fungi that inhibit the growth of the bad bacteria. So it's not just bacteria that play a role here, but oftentimes that's just kind of what people reference. But what's actually important for a healthy microbiome? Like, why should you even care? I think you're going to be shocked when I tell you all of the health problems that poor gut health can lead to. I'm still shocked, and I read about this stuff all the time. What might be even more shocking is some of the treatments out there. So definitely more on that later. But first, I want to talk about what makes up a healthy microbiome. The name of the game here is diversity. A diverse microbiome is kind of like having a vibrant community garden where different plants are going to work together to create that healthy environment. But in this case, instead of plants, it's the bacteria, the virus, and the fungi. This diversity helps the body function at its best. So if you imagine just like a bustling city, there's people from all walks of life. Each person is going to have a unique role that contributes to the overall well-being of the community. Similarly, your gut microbiome is home to, these trillions of microorganisms, and each one is going to have its own job, that own unique role. Some are going to help break down food, others help produce vitamins, some protect us against harmful invaders. And so really, the more diverse the microbiome is, the better it's going to be able to support your overall health. Do you ever feel bloated or gassy? That's like your garden getting overrun by weeds. When one type of bacteria takes over, it causes all sorts of digestive issues. We call this dysbiosis. And this can happen for many reasons. It can be poor diet, stress, Antibiotic use or, overuse, I should say. It seems like these days, you just sneeze and they want to prescribe you antibiotics. But this is the truth in adults for sure, but it's especially true in infants who are still developing their immune system. Giving an infant antibiotics before it's developed a proper, healthy microbiome can lead to long-term consequences like allergies, asthma, chronic infections, autoimmune problems have all been linked to early antibiotic use in infants. But for most adults, this dysbiosis can be short-term. And when it is, it leads to uncomfortable symptoms. That's where the bloating, the gas, even irregular bowel movements can come in. This is your gut's way of telling you that something is off. And here's a scary thought. An imbalanced gut long-term can lead to serious health problems down the line, like diabetes, heart disease, even obesity due to its effect on metabolism. So keeping your gut diverse can help prevent these risks and really just keep your health in check. And here's something else you might not know. Did you know your gut is as unique as your fingerprint? Let's dive into why that matters. No two people have the same gut microbiome. Your gut bacteria are influenced by genetics. They're influenced by diet, environment, and lifestyle. This means that what works for one person might not work for another. It can get really frustrating following just like generic advice and not feeling any better. So what this means is if you're having a problem, finding a solution might involve experimenting with different foods, different supplements, and lifestyle to see what's going to work for you. So let's talk about digestion for a minute, because that's probably the most obvious link to the microbiome. Your gut microbiome is like your body's own personal chef. It helps in the breaking down of complex foods into nutrients you can actually use. This means more energy and better health. Your gut bacteria play an especially critical role in breaking down complex carbohydrates, fibers, and proteins that your gut and intestines just can't handle on their own. What they do is they produce these enzymes that break down the foods into smaller molecules that your body can absorb. So for instance, fiber gets fermented into short-chain fatty acids, which provide energy for your colon and have an anti-inflammatory effect. A healthy gut ensures you're getting the most nutrition out of your food. So if you're getting digestive discomfort, it's often because your gut bacteria aren't doing their job properly. Supporting them with the right foods can help. And when your gut bacteria are struggling, you might be experiencing the bloating, the gas, the constipation, the diarrhea. This often happens when you're eating too much processed foods and not getting enough fiber. Fiber is crucial because it's the main food source for the beneficial gut bacteria. By feeding your gut the right foods, the fruits, the vegetables, whole grains, you can help the bacteria thrive and improve your digestion. Poor digestion can lead to long-term health issues. So a healthy gut's going to really ensure that you're getting the right nutrients that your body needs to stay healthy. If you imagine your gut as a blender, if it's not working properly, you end up with chunky, undigested food. It's not very good. But when it's in good shape, you get a smooth, nutrient-rich smoothie. If you've ever heard that statement, you are what you eat, it's not exactly true, or at least it's not the full picture. You are what you eat and can digest and can absorb. But there's more. Did you know your gut is a training ground for your immune system? You can think of the gut as like a boot camp for soldiers. Those are your immune cells. The better the training, the stronger and more prepared they are to fight off the enemies. And about 70% of your immune system is housed inside of your gut. So those gut bacteria, they help train the immune cells, teaching them to distinguish between harmful invaders and the body's own cells. They're going to produce compounds that either stimulate or calm the immune response, helping to keep it in balance. This means fewer colds, less inflammation, and a lower risk of autoimmune problems. So if you're getting sick all the time, it could be because your immune system isn't getting the support it needs from your gut. Studies have actually shown that people with a healthy gut microbiome tend to have stronger immune responses and get sick less often. Sounds pretty good, right? And with allergies, asthma, and autoimmune diseases on the rise, which can all be related to imbalanced microbiome, a healthy gut can, really give you peace of mind knowing your body's defenses are stronger and reducing those risks. What you may not know is your gut bacteria help regulate your metabolism, which is crucial for maintaining a healthy weight and energy levels. Your gut influences how you store fat, how you balance sugar, and even how you respond to the hunger hormone. So if you're struggling with weight gain or low energy, and about 75% of Americans are, it might be time to look at your gut for the answers. Studies have shown that people with obesity tend to have less diversity in their gut microbiome. And on the flip side of that, by improving gut health, you can support healthy metabolism and better energy levels, lose weight, and even help prevent the develop of these metabolic problems like diabetes. If your metabolism is a car engine, your gut bacteria, these are the mechanics. They're going to keep everything running smoothly. Without them, the engine, your metabolism, can fail. So we've already made some really important connections here. There's two more correlations I'm going to talk about today before I go into what typically causes gut problems and some practical solutions to help if this is a problem for you. Now, the second correlation is something I don't think 99% of people have ever even thought about. They just have no awareness of the correlation between this problem and their gut. But the first correlation is more broad, and it has to do with chronic medical problems. I'm telling you, folks, the list is as long as my arm. There are just so many things that are correlated to this dysbiosis in the gut. So just the broad strokes, the high level stuff, we have metabolic disorders, cardiovascular diseases, GI problems, neurologic problems, autoimmune problems, allergies, cancers, respiratory diseases, kidneys, kidney problems, skin problems, metabolic bone diseases, that one even surprised me, and endocrine disorders. So those are just like the big categories. Of course, each one of those categories has a subset of issues. Under metabolic disorders, we have obesity, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and non-alcoholic fatty liver. Under cardiovascular, we have atherosclerosis, hypertension, and heart disease. The GI disorders, there's IBS, SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and celiac disease. Under neurologic problems, we have Parkinson's disease. That was another surprise for me. Alzheimer's, not so surprising now that it's considered type 3 diabetes. Even schizophrenia. Under autoimmune, we have rheumatoid, MS, lupus, and type 1 diabetes. Under allergies, we also have asthma, eczema, allergic rhinitis, and even food allergies. Under respiratory problems, we have chronic rhinosinusitis and COPD. Kidney diseases, we have chronic kidney disease and kidney stones. For skin conditions, we have acne, psoriasis, rosacea. Whew, that's a mouthful already. Metabolic bone diseases, we have osteoporosis and osteopenia. Endocrine disorders, we have PCOS and thyroid problems. And for links to cancer, we have colorectal cancer, gastric cancer, liver cancer, and pancreatic cancer. Now, you might be sweating just like me. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, I can't off the top of my head think of many other chronic problems out there. So it would certainly seem like there's a very, very strong correlation to what's going on in your gut and a lot of these really bad health problems. Understanding that your gut health impacts chronic diseases gives you the power to take proactive steps to staying healthy. Dealing with these conditions can be tough, but having an understanding of the root causes can give you the pathway to healing your body. If you think of your gut as the foundation of your house, if the foundation's strong, the house is going to stand firm. But if it's weak, the whole structure is at risk. Far too many people out there, they're stuck chasing the symptoms. They've tried medication, they've tried different lifestyle changes, they've tried exercising, nothing seems to be working. In many cases, because they haven't actually identified what the true root cause is. But once they do, and they focus on healing the root cause, all these other symptoms tend to take care of themselves. But there's one more topic, the final topic that I really want to talk to before I get into some other causative factors and steps to correct. But this is the one. This is the one I've really been waiting to talk about. I think it is so fascinating and so interesting. Have you ever wondered why they call the gut the second brain? Here's the reason. The gut-brain connection is real. Your gut and brain are constantly talking to each other through what's called the gut-brain axis. Remember that term, which includes the vagus nerve. This is a nerve that directly connects your gut to your brain. It's a major highway for signals between the two. About 90% of the body's serotonin, this is a key neurotransmitter that influences mood, sleep, and appetite, is produced in the gut. Everyone thinks about serotonin in the brain, but 90% of it is produced in the gut. So when your gut's healthy, it can produce enough serotonin to keep you feeling good. But when your gut's out of balance, it can lead to mood disorders like anxiety and depression. Feeling stressed, feeling anxious, your gut might be partly to blame. Taking care of it can make a big difference. When you're stressed, your gut barrier can become more permeable. This is a condition known as leaky gut. This allows harmful substances to enter your bloodstream, which can trigger inflammation and affect brain function. I'm telling you, taking steps to improve your gut health can help manage stress and anxiety. Your gut and brain, they're like best friends. They're texting each other all day. If your gut is unhappy, it's going to send distress signals to your brain, making you feel anxious or down. So if you ever feel like you've had like a gut feeling about something, this is why. It's because of the connection between the two. And I know I said that, people refer to the gut as the second brain. If you look at evolution, a lot of scientists now think that our gut brain developed even before our brain. This is so fascinating to me. My wife is a clinical psychologist who is also trained as a certified health coach to deal with these types of things. And I really wish more mental health professionals were equipped to help their patients with gut healing. If the therapy isn't working, if the meds aren't working, it might be a digestive issue causing a lot of other downstream problems. And mental health issues can be daunting. It's so much harder taking the first steps to healing if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling anxious. But knowing that a healthy gut can help manage these feelings can be a huge relief, because research has shown that taking probiotics, this beneficial bacteria, can help reduce the symptoms of depression and anxiety. Now, it's not just any probiotic. There's like specific strains that have been tested and shown to have the greatest effect on the mood. And sadly, there aren't like a ton of great products out there with quality ingredients and clinically researched strains. So my wife decided to take it into her own hands and develop her own. She's in the final stages of development. I cannot wait for her to be able to release her mood boosting probiotic. It's really going to help a lot of people. So definitely stay tuned for that. But before we get into the practical steps, like what are the things you can do to actually help the microbiome? Let's go into the problems. What causes dysbiosis? I'm going to break it down for you. The top 5 problems with the gut microbiome are antibiotics, bad diet, stress, lack of sleep, and environmental toxins. With antibiotics, are they harmful or helpful? Well, it depends. Let's break it down. While antibiotics can be lifesavers, they can also mess with your gut. And knowing this can help take the right steps to restore your gut health afterwards. It's common to experience digestive issues like constipation or diarrhea after taking the antibiotics. This happens because antibiotics disrupt the balance, allowing harmful bacteria to take over. Because antibiotics are designed to kill bacteria. They do not discriminate between harmful bacteria or beneficial bacteria. They just kill. This can lead to a significant reduction even in the good bacteria. Antibiotics are kind of like a wildfire. Sometimes they're necessary, but they also destroy the good along with the bad. It's really important to replant or repopulate your gut with the good bacteria afterwards. A 2007 study showed that repeated use of antibiotics can lead to long-term changes in the gut microbiome. That's not just like the short-term stuff that's easily fixable, because it also causes gut damage. This is why it's crucial to use antibiotics only when absolutely necessary and to take those steps to restore your gut health afterwards. And we'll get to how to heal the gut here in a moment. But antibiotics, while really an important cause of gut problems to know about, it's not the root cause for most people. For most people, it's dietary choices. Your diet has a massive impact on your gut health. Eating plenty of fiber, fermented foods, those types of things we'll get to can keep your gut bacteria happy. But many people experience digestive issues because their diet's high in processed foods and they're low in fiber. Processed foods are going to promote the growth of the harmful bacteria and lead to that dysbiosis. They're high in sugar, which causes inflammation. They can contain trans fat, also cause inflammation. And they've been stripped of all the nutrients and stripped of all the fiber. Now, fiber is the food for a healthy gut. So the good gets taken out, the bad gets added in. And if you were really to map out the rise of all those chronic conditions that we mentioned earlier, you could pretty easily start to see a correlation with the rise in processed foods. Poor diets are going to lead to really serious health problems over time. And having that understanding of how food impacts your gut, it's going to give you the tools you need to prevent those types of problems or reverse them if they've already developed. If your gut is a garden, the fiber and fermented foods are like the water and the sunlight. They're helping the gut flora. For continuing down the list, number 3 is stress. With chronic stress, which, does that affect everyone today? I feel like almost everybody is chronically stressed these days, but your stress hormone cortisol can make your gut less hospitable to the good bacteria and more hospitable to the bad bacteria. It also affects that gut permeability, which can ultimately lead to leaky gut syndrome. Number 4 is lack of sleep. Now, this is interesting. Your gut microbiome has its own circadian rhythms, which they're going to be influenced by your sleep cycles. So if you're not sleeping well, it changes the rhythms in your gut, which can cause problems. Number 5 is environmental toxins. This is like exposure to pollutants, chemicals, pesticides, microplastics, all these things that seem to be like everywhere these days and can all negatively impact your good gut bacteria. This is why it's so important to know exactly what you're putting in your body so you can protect your gut health. I can't stress enough how important that's going to be for your health and just overall well-being. Especially if this is something that you've never really given any attention to. And now that you know the top 5 problems, ready to finally give your gut some love? Here are the 5 simple steps you can take to improve your gut microbiome starting today. First on my list is eating a diverse diet rich in fiber. Fibers, again, these are prebiotic, meaning they are the primary food source that feeds the good gut bacteria. Eating a variety of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, it can provide your gut bacteria with the nutrients that they're going to need to thrive. And 95% of Americans don't get enough fiber. Maybe not a surprise that so many folks are having gut issues. Aim for at least 25 to 35 grams of fiber per day. Track it to know where you're at, because if you have a hard time getting it from your diet, it's totally okay to supplement. I personally prefer pure psyllium husk, but there's plenty of other good fibers out there. If you want more information there, you can listen to episode 2, all about fiber. Number 2 on my list is to take probiotics. Now, I'm going to take maybe an unpopular stance here, but if your digestion and health are good, you probably don't need probiotics. Probiotics are an $80 billion a year industry, and some people just don't need them, but they've been conditioned or scared into thinking that they do. If you do have problems with your gut or any of those chronic health problems, the metabolic issues, the endocrine problems, the heart, the GI, the neurologic, the respiratory, allergies, autoimmune, or chronic stress, anxiety, and depression, then definitely a probiotic should be considered. Be aware that probiotics without fiber, though, are totally useless. You can't repopulate the gut without giving the good bacteria the food and the environment that they need to thrive. Continuing down my list, number 3 is fermented foods. Now, fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi are nature's probiotics. They build up their own bacteria, which can boost the population of good bacteria in your gut. This is especially important after taking antibiotics or if you already know your gut's in trouble. Because to use the analogy, if your gut is a garden, fiber and fermented foods, these are the water and sunlight helping your gut flora flourish. So those are some things to add in. What about some things you can take out? The most important thing is to reduce intake of sugars and processed carbs. Because even if you're giving your body a lot of the good stuff, but still eating a lot of sugars and processed carbs, it's like trying to put out a fire with water at the same time you're pouring gasoline on it. It's never going to go out. Cutting down on processed foods and sugars can prevent the growth of these harmful bacteria. So reducing intake of the junk food, the sugary drinks, the refined carbohydrates can help maintain that healthy balance that you're looking for. And number 5, last one on my list, is to manage lifestyle, and especially stress and sleep. Chronic stress, lack of sleep, these are both going to negatively impact gut health. So practices like meditation, deep breathing exercises, yoga, and regular physical activity can reduce stress. And then practicing good sleep hygiene. This is not turning on the news or scrolling through your feed right before bed, taking plenty of time to wind down at the end of the day, and allowing 7 to 9 hours for quality sleep per night. All of those things together can help. And I'm telling you, if you follow these 5 steps, you can completely repopulate your microbiome in just a few months. This isn't something that for most people takes years and years to develop. It's some work on the front end, but when you put that work in, you lay down that foundation for long-term gut health, which really, based on everything we talked about today, is long-term overall health. Now, there's one other option that you may never have heard about when it comes to repopulating the microbiome. Ever heard of fecal transplants? It might sound strange, but they could be the future of gut health. Fecal transplants involve transferring stool from a healthy donor into the gut of someone with dysbiosis to help them restore a healthy balance of bacteria. And the idea of a fecal transplant might seem gross, it might seem off-putting, but it's highly effective treatment for certain conditions. Even in mice, they've shown that doing a fecal transplant from a skinny mouse donor to an overweight mouse, the overweight mouse lost weight because of the impact that a healthy microbiome can have on metabolism. So there's some really promising use cases out there. This as a treatment is still in its infancy. I'm really excited to see, maybe the use cases for some of those chronic problems, MS, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, these things that seem to not really have a lot of really great treatment options out there. If you think of a fecal transplant like replanting the garden with healthy soil, the new rich soil helps the plants, that's your healthy gut bacteria, grow strong and healthy. So, keep your eye on the future of fecal transplants. I don't think a lot of people are, jumping out there like, oh my God, I have to get this done just yet. But I really believe as more and more research comes out that it's going to be a promising intervention for a lot of these chronic health problems. So there you have it. Your gut microbiome is a key factor in overall health, much more than most people realize. And again, I think maybe we're just scratching the surface, but it's clear. Take care of your gut and it will take care of you. Stay healthy out there, and I'll catch you on the next episode.